Are we all going to die? That's, I guess, the question I have. Joining us to answer this, Stephen Yates, who is a foreign policy expert, and he's with the DC International Advisory. Stephen, always a pleasure. Why is this little strip of mountain so important?
Well, Dana, I guess the newsflash for a lot of the progressives of the world is that some countries care about borders.
Oh.
And they're willing to send a lot of their military there to fight in what you accurately describe as a largely godforsaken part of the planet. I mean, there's almost no life up in those mountains. And this is a long simmering dispute. But it's probably also worth contemplating how exactly did these people die? Because for all the gun control activists out there in the world, these soldiers clashed and they were killed by using sticks and stones and pushing people into a ravine off of these very steep, large, sheer cliffs.
They killed them by not shooting them?
Exactly. It's amazing that this can happen, that somehow militaries can actually get together and even without evil guns, they still find a way to kill each other.
Wow.
So borders matter, and it turns out sticks and stones can break your bones. And we have major power conflict in this little area. But to answer your question at the outset, no, I don't believe we're all going to die because of this. But what you do have is an ethnic nationalist leader in China trying to stir up trouble. You have a democratically elected leader of India that people want to say is an evil ethnic nationalist. And maybe they even have some grist for the argument. But what I find most off-putting in all of this is the media and professorial class equating the value of these two countries and what's going on. You have an evil communist regime with no accountability pressing this conflict now. And you have a democratically elected, I think, partner, if not ally in India,
right,
that is going to face a lot of pressure to push back.
Wow. Yeah, it was 20 Indian soldiers, and the people were demanding more information on this. And India so far has, they had words for them. Well, they had their vice president that paid tribute to the 20 soldiers, and they said that, also wrote about them on Twitter. One of the things that I've seen, and this kind of almost seems lame to me, but I wanted to just run it by you. Why the area was so why there's so much tension there. And one of the analysis that I read was that, well, it's because it's poorly demarcated. The line there, the border line, shifts because there's so many snow caps and lakes and rivers, and so you have these two superpowers that can come to face to face at many different intervals because the borderline can shift. That seems really like an unscientific answer to me.
Well, it is an area that's hard to demarcate, and there's a part of me that wonders why anyone should need to demarcate it, because there's really no good reason.
Like nobody's going to go up there.
This part of the planet.
Right.
So this is the intersection of India and Pakistan, where there have been wars and conflicts. This is also the intersection of Tibet and Greater China and Tibet and India. India is home to the Tibetan government in exile, and many, many Tibetans live peacefully and prosperously in India after they fled oppression in China. And there are multiple paths that people can move, and so in one among the reasons why Beijing pushes all of this is to cut off as many channels to the outside world for Tibetans and anyone else that's trying to cross over into India. And so it really comes back to the Chinese leader Xi Jinping, his ramped up ethnic nationalism of the Han people, not all Chinese people, and trying to stoke nationalism to kind of save his political backside from anyone paying attention to the fact that the economy is not going very well. Coronavirus cases are supposedly spiking in Beijing, their nation's capital. And so why not go have a fight with India to get people focused on how much they love their country?
Yeah, no, that's actually a very good point. Some of the headlines I've seen about that are quite scary, where they stopped domestic travel. People have been rounded up. They've been, right when you have here in the United States, it seems some media entities have been trying to fearmonger about a second wave. The vice president says we're not going to have a second wave. Did China just like forget all? Did they not do the social distancing? Did they not virtue signal with the face masks? I mean, what went wrong?
Well, I mean, when you have over a billion people in your population, I think social distancing presents a new challenge.
True.
And I think that they did clamp down in the city of Wuhan for a while. Very kind of them to clamp down after letting a bunch of international travelers out. But nonetheless, they did clamp down eventually.
Right.
But this is very much a China problem first, and it's a systemic problem in China. And so if anywhere is going to have a second wave, it's going to be China first. We should watch it carefully because this virus, if one gets it, it presents terrible symptoms. It's bad stuff. We shouldn't want more of it. But I think the United States of America has done all it reasonably can. And we've forgotten the first mission of keeping our hospitals from being overburdened. So that's what I think any serious people, if they're able to have a free press in China, should be watching. Are Beijing hospitals getting overburdened? And that would be, I think, the key indicator that Asia is going to go again.
Yeah. Shifting focus to look a little bit towards the North and South Korea, particularly North Korea. I always I find it fascinating that Kim Jong-un's younger sister is fitting all the movie stereotypes of little sisters that I see, troublemakers and people out there just causing problems. I read, let me pull this up. I lost this headline. There was one analyst who was saying that Kim Jong-un's sister is on a roll. She's threatened military action against South Korea, promised a tragic scene at the liaison office, then blew up said liaison office. So to pause there, what's behind that? Is that actually her? First off, do you actually believe that she's the one who is amping up this aggression, or is she just installed as the avatar? And then secondly, why the liaison office?
Yeah, well, I mean, with North Korea, I think we've talked about this before. There is no such thing as a North Korea expert. There's not good, accurate information out of North Korea. And so I think Team America is the closest approximation to real intelligence we have on what's happening in North Korea. And I'm waiting for the sequel to help inform us. But really, I think she is actually jockeying for power. I do think that there are questions about her brother's durability and health. And the oddest thing among a long list of odd things about North Korea is I don't know where the woke political correct class is in not going after North Korea. Number one, the current leader of North Korea has a brother that should be in line to succeed him, but he has been smeared as having the heart of a woman and not manly enough to take the job. Where are all the gender advocates and all of the Pride Day activists going after North Korea for this kind of terrible thing? And now with his sister, apparently she has to prove that she's murderous and tough enough in order to be in line to succeed, because up till now, North Korea has not exactly been the kindest to women, it turns out.
Yeah.
And so I do think that there's some jockeying going on, but the caveat at the beginning applies. No one really knows, to the extent it doesn't really matter. It's a pulverized, militarized society. If they change leaders, we're still going to have a problem for a good while.
Do you think Kim Jong-un is still alive, or is this like a Weekend at Bernie's thing?
I think he's still alive, but we have no proof. I'd love to have another big gathering and put the spotlight on him to see that, yep, the guy's still around, has to show up and see whether there's some generals that are sizing him up for a short walk on a long plank.
Goodness.
Or the other way around.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, with everything else going on in the world, I did not have this on my bingo card. So not one of the things that I predicted. I didn't predict that the Mayan calendar, they would try to do, it's wrong again. It's actually this week. And then I saw this news with India and China. I thought, well, maybe actually it'll happen. Who knows? Stephen Yates at Yates DCIA. Yates DCIA. Always so good to have you. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate you.